If you're looking to replace your golf grips and you don't want to spend a lot of money, you should definitely check out these Glory Tee golf grips from Geoleap, which you can find on Amazon. I've used them now for 6 months and I'm ready to give you my full review. It should be noted this video is completely unbiased. I'm not sponsored, nor do I have an affiliate link. I'm just passing on my experience with these grips to you so you can make an informed decision. So over 6 months ago, I installed these Geoleap grips on most of my clubs. I say most because there were a few clubs that I left the old Karma grips on, which I reviewed previously because they weren't worn out yet and they were on my higher irons that I don't use as often. It was a bit due to laziness, but it turned out nice because now I had 2 different grips that I could contrast while out on the golf course. I decided to go with white, a little risky, but I really like the way white grips look. A buddy of mine warned me that's probably not a good idea because they're going to get dirty real fast. So we'll take a look at how they aged over these 6 months. Let's jump in and start off with the feel and tackiness of these grips. For me, they were great. They're not soft. So if you like a really cushiony feel, these grips probably aren't for you. They're not super hard though either. I've definitely had on grips that are firmer than this. The Champ Key grips that I originally reviewed come to mind. They're definitely a lot more firmer. So they do have a cushion. They just aren't super squishy. I would say the Karma grips that I reviewed previous to this were a bit more squishy. However, the tackiness of these grips holds up quite nicely. We'll come back to that a little later because some users did report that they were slippery, but that was not my experience at all with these grips. I even used them in the rain, different weather conditions, held up well no matter the circumstances. So let's talk about size now. And the reason I bring this up is because sometimes when you order budget golf grips, the size isn't as advertised. They may say mid-size or jumbo, but in fact, you get something a little bit smaller or thinner. And that is exactly the case with the Karma grips that I reviewed previously and still have on some of my clubs. They were advertised as mid-size, but they were definitely smaller than your standard mid-size grips. You will not have that problem with the Geoleaps. Their mid-size is an actual mid-size. So for size, these hold up perfectly well. Next, let's talk about looks. If name brand is not important to you, then these look great. If name brand is important to you, well then obviously, you might be a little sheepish when it comes to these because they say Geoleap on them. However, a person on Amazon suggested, if the lettering you don't like, just rotate the grip so the lettering is face down, you don't even see it. The colors are nice. I like the options that are available on Amazon. And the white for me has held up really, really well. I'm showing you my pitching wedge here, which is my most used club, both in the simulator and outdoors. It's the one I kind of practice swing the most with. And you can see there is some discoloration, but for the most part, it has held up really, really well to the brand new grip that hasn't been used at all. And again, I have not washed these once. I think if I did wash them with a little soap and water solution, it would even be brighter. So I think these look fantastic. The cost of these grips is incredible. You get a pack of 13 and it comes down to about $2.83 per grip in Canadian funds or $2 in US funds. So you can't beat that price. They are fantastic for the budget. The durability of these is very, very good. I feel like they haven't lost any tackiness along the way. They're still just as tacky and grippy as 6 months ago. So that is a great sign. Definitely wear better than the Karma grips that I had on previously. You can't even really tell any marks or wear spots on these grips. So I am impressed with how long they have lasted so far. And I'm curious to see how long they're going to go in the future before I have to replace them. Now let's jump into the Amazon reviews and see what other buyers have said about this product. Overall, very, very good. 4.4 out of 5 stars. Let's jump into some of the better rated comments. This is from Kyle. Loves the grips. They feel awesome and look amazing. They seem like they are good quality, comparable to more expensive brands. In my opinion, I'm satisfied with them and would recommend and would purchase again. Great grips. The grips have a nice feel and are comfortable to hold. I usually use tour velvet grips and I like these better. I flipped the grip over when I installed them to reduce the writing on top of the grip. I will buy more of them. So that's the user I was talking about earlier that said, just that quick little trick, just spin it around and face it the other way if you don't like all the writing on the grips. And finally, these have a solid feel and have plenty of feel to them. I also love that with the white, they are so bright. Haven't left a club on the fringe since installing them. Now let's take a look at some of the negative reviews, of which really there's only 3 one-star reviews, which says a lot. 2 of them talk about the slipperiness of the grip, saying there is no tack. Taylor said no grip at all. hand slide right off these. We will be putting on golf prides for the next season. And Al says, bought these off of a recommendation from a friend, but there must be a difference in the type I purchased. I've changed out 3 grips and they are just awful, very slippery and bad enough that they cause poor shots. So 2 of the very negative reviews are talking about how slippery these grips are. So as I said, this has not been my experience at all. I find the grips actually quite tacky. I've even played with them in a downpour and they held up just fine. However, maybe it's a manufacturing thing, like maybe a couple of the grips do come with a little bit of a coating on it. And the reason I suspect that maybe that's true is another user said, they feel good and grippy. After install, be sure to wash grips with a damp soapy towel and dry them and they'll be very grippy. I was a little worried because they were slippery as a butter-soaked baby carrot before the wash. So if you get these grips and you find them a little slippery, just take some soap and water, give them a wash, and according to BR, they'll be super grippy. The other complaint was about installing the grips and that it was really, really difficult to install them. Again, I didn't find this. I think that's maybe just a grip by grip, experience. There are some times when just one of the grips in the package won't go on as well. It's probably because I didn't, use as much solvent or I used a different golf tape or something like that. But most of the time when you're complaining about a grip being hard to put on, and it's kind of a one-off comment, you're not seeing multiple of them, it's a good indicator that it's probably just that user's experience. And I think that is the case. I didn't find that these were difficult to put on at all. In the budget golf grip category, I'd rank these quite high. In fact, out of the budget golf grips that I've reviewed on this channel, I would think that this is actually number 1. So give them a try if you're interested and let me know if you've tried them in the comments below, or if you have any questions, I'll definitely get back to you and answer them to the best of my ability. Thanks for checking out the channel. You are appreciated and we'll see you next time on Golf Quest.